American TV host made fun of President Ibrahim Traoré of Burkina Faso. And what happened next shocked everyone. If you think words are just words, you need to hear this story. Because sometimes, a joke is not just a joke. Sometimes a joke can shake a nation. It started fast. One night in America, the city was alive. The famous TV host walked onto the stage, ready to make people laugh. He looked at the camera and said, "Tonight, let's talk about the president of Burkina Faso. His name is Ibrahim Traoré. Who is he? Where is Burkina Faso? Is that even a real country?" The crowd laughed. The host didn't stop. "This president is so young. Maybe he should be in school, not running a country." The audience roared. More jokes. More laughter. The host joked about Traoré's age, his accent, his clothes. The studio was shaking with laughter, but the host had no idea his words were about to explode across the world. The video hit the internet like a storm. Someone posted it online. It spread in minutes. People in America watched. People in Europe watched. Then Africa saw it. In Burkina Faso, people were shocked. Their president was a joke on American TV. Anger spread. Sadness spread. People asked, "Why is he laughing at us? Does he know our story?" The video was everywhere, on phones, radios, TVs. In markets, in schools, in homes, people talked about it. The whole country was buzzing. President Ibrahim Traoré heard about the video. He was young, but he was strong. He had become president when his country needed him. He was brave. He cared about his people. He watched the video. He did not get angry. He did not shout. He did not ask for revenge. He thought fast. He knew the world was watching. He called a press conference. Reporters rushed in. Cameras flashed. President Traoré stood up, looked at everyone and smiled. He said, "I have seen the jokes. I have heard the laughter. But I want to say this. Burkina Faso is not a joke. We are a proud people. We have a long history. We have faced many problems, but we are strong. As for my age, maybe it is time for the world to see what young Africans can do." The room clapped. Africa cheered. People felt proud. Their president did not fight with anger. He answered with respect and wisdom. But the story was just beginning. In the days that followed, the streets of Ouagadougou, the capital of Burkina Faso, were filled with talk. Taxi drivers argued about the video. Teachers discussed it with their students. In the markets, women selling mangoes and peanuts shook their heads and said, "They do not know us. They do not know our president." Even children on the playgrounds played a new game, pretending to be President Traoré standing up to the world. The whole country felt the sting of the joke, but they also felt something else: unity. For the first time in a long time, everyone was talking about what it meant to be Burkinabe. In the villages, elders gathered under the big trees to talk about what had happened. They remembered other times when outsiders had laughed at Africa. They remembered stories from the past, when their ancestors had faced insults and challenges. One old man with a white beard and a walking stick told the story of the wise chameleon. The chameleon, he said, was small and quiet, but it could change its colors to survive. When the other animals laughed at the chameleon for being slow, the chameleon did not get angry. It simply changed its color and moved on. In the end, the chameleon survived when the others did not. The old man said, "Sometimes it is better to be wise than to be loud. Sometimes it is better to change and move forward than to fight every insult." Meanwhile, in the city, young people took to social media. They posted messages of support for their president. They shared stories about Burkina Faso's history, its heroes, its music, and its food. They wanted the world to know that their country was more than just a punchline. Some students made videos in English and French, explaining who President Traoré was and why he mattered. One video showed the president visiting a school, talking to children and planting trees. Another video showed him meeting with farmers, listening to their problems and promising to help. These videos started to spread too. Soon people in other African countries were sharing them. The story was changing. The world was starting to see a different side of Burkina Faso. But the American TV host was still in the middle of the storm. At first, he did not understand why people were so upset. He thought it was just a joke. But then he started to get messages from people all over the world. Some were angry. Some were sad. Some tried to explain why the joke was hurtful. He read messages from students in Burkina Faso. From mothers, from teachers, from people who had never been on TV but who loved their country. He started to feel the weight of his words. He watched the video of President Traoré's speech. He saw the pride in the president's eyes. He saw the hope in the faces of the people. He realized that he had made a mistake. The next night, the TV host went back on air. The lights were bright, but he did not smile. He looked at the camera and said, "Last night I made jokes about President Ibrahim Traoré. After hearing his response, I realized I was wrong. I did not know his story. I did not know the story of his people. I am sorry. I want to learn more about Burkina Faso and about Africa." The audience was quiet. Then they started to clap. It was not the sound of laughter. It was the sound of respect. But the story did not stop there. In Burkina Faso, people watched the apology. Some people forgave the host. Others said, "He must do more than say sorry." A group of university students wrote an open letter, inviting the TV host to visit Burkina Faso. They said, "Come and see our country. Come and meet our people. Come and learn our story." The letter was shared thousands of times. People in other countries joined in. They said, "Yes, come to Africa. See for yourself." The government of Burkina Faso saw an opportunity. They decided to turn the insult into a chance to teach the world about their country. They organized a week of celebration called Proud to be Burkinabe. There were concerts, art shows, and food festivals. People wore traditional clothes and danced in the streets. Musicians played the balafon and the kora. Poets read their work. Children painted pictures of their heroes. The whole country was alive with pride. News reporters from other countries came to see what was happening. They wrote stories about the celebration. They interviewed people in the markets, in the schools, in the villages. The world started to see Burkina Faso in a new light. During this week, President Traoré visited many places. He went to a hospital and thanked the doctors and nurses. He visited a farm and helped plant seeds. He sat with elders and listened to their stories. Everywhere he went, people cheered. They said, "You are our president. You make us proud." The president spoke to the people. He said, "We are not defined by what others say about us. We are defined by our actions, our kindness, our courage. Let us show the world who we are." At the same time, the American TV host was learning. He started to read about Burkina Faso. He watched documentaries. He spoke to people from Africa. He learned about the country's history, its struggles, and its dreams. He learned about Thomas Sankara, the famous leader who had inspired many people. He learned about the Mossi people, the largest ethnic group in Burkina Faso. He learned about the country's music, its food, its art. The more he learned, the more he realized how little he knew before. One day, the TV host decided to do something different. He invited a guest from Burkina Faso onto his show. The guest was a young woman named Awa. She was a student, a poet, and a leader in her community. She wore a bright dress and spoke with confidence. The host asked her, "What do you want people to know about your country?" Awa smiled and said, "I want people to know that we are more than just a name on a map. We are a people with dreams, with stories, with hope. We are strong. We are proud. We are Burkinabe." The audience listened. Some people wiped away tears. The host thanked Awa and promised to visit Burkina Faso one day. Back in Burkina Faso, people watched the show. They cheered for Awa. They felt proud. They saw that their voices could reach across the world. They saw that one person's words could make a difference. The story was no longer about a joke. It was about respect. It was about learning. It was about change. But the lessons did not stop there. In the villages, elders told more stories. They told the story of the river and the stone. The river was strong and could move anything in its path. But one day, the river met a stone that would not move. The river tried to push the stone, but the stone stayed still. The river grew angry and tried harder. Still, the stone did not move. Finally, the river learned to flow around the stone. The elder said, "Sometimes you cannot change others. You must change yourself. You must find a new path." This story reminded people that sometimes the best answer to an insult is not anger, but wisdom. In the schools, teachers use the story as a lesson. They asked students, "What would you do if someone made fun of you?" Some students said they would fight back. Others said they would ignore it. The teacher said, "Sometimes the best answer is to show who you really are. Show your strength. Show your kindness. Show your pride." The students nodded. They understood. In the markets, women sang songs about the president. They made up new words to old tunes. They sang about being strong, about standing tall, about not letting others bring you down. The songs spread from one market to another. Soon everyone was singing. The whole country was alive with music and hope. The story even reached other countries. In Ghana, in Nigeria, in Senegal, people talked about what had happened. They said, "This is not just about Burkina Faso. This is about all of us. This is about Africa." People shared their own stories of being laughed at, of being misunderstood. They shared stories of pride, of courage, of hope. The story became bigger than one country. It became a story for the whole continent. Meanwhile, President Traore kept working. He met with leaders from other countries. He spoke at the United Nations. He talked about respect, about dignity, about the power of words. He said, "We must listen to each other. We must learn from each other. We must respect each other." People listened. They saw that he was not just a young president. He was a leader with a message for the world. The American TV host kept learning too. He started a new segment on his show called Voices from Africa. Every week he invited someone from Africa to share their story. He learned about different countries, different cultures, different dreams. His audience learned too. They saw that Africa was not just a place to make jokes about. It was a place of wisdom, of strength, of pride. The story of the joke became a story of change. It became a story of learning, of respect, of hope. It showed that one person's words can hurt, but they can also heal. It showed that a country can turn an insult into a lesson. It showed that respect is stronger than laughter. In the end, the story was not about a joke. It was about what happened after the joke. It was about how people responded. It was about how they stood together. It was about how they taught the world who they really were. So, the next time you hear someone making fun of another person, remember this story. Remember President Traore. Remember the talking drum. Remember the chameleon, the river, and the stone. Remember Awa, the student who spoke for her country. Remember that respect is the key to every heart. And remember that sometimes a joke is not just a joke. Sometimes a joke can change the world. And that is the story of how a single joke became a lesson for the whole world. If you found this story powerful, if you learned something new, or if you believe respect is important, then join us. Subscribe to this channel for more stories, more African tales, and more lessons that matter. Your support helps us share these voices with the world. Don't forget to like, comment, and share this video with your friends and family. Together we can spread respect, wisdom, and hope, one story at a time. Thank you for watching and see you in the next story.